Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Seems as though I have a frog in my throat this morning. Anyways, wow, it is so humid right now. It's not even funny. And I know there are people like in Hawaii and in the south of the United States going, "You're joking, right?" But no, it's like 80+% humidity right now. It is no joke. So anyways, so that's why I kind of look like a wet mop right now. But actually, I just let my hair stay curly, so that's not why my hair is like that. But no, it's hot. But that's why you can hear my fan in the background, because even with the AC, holy moly. So, but you know what? It's good for the skin, right? It's good for the complexion. So, so no complaints. Well, maybe a little one, but I have, I know I'm starting a little early today, but today's a travel day for me, and I figure more people watch when it's not live, so I would just go on a little early and see what happens. Good morning, older sibling. I have the magical messages from the fairies, the enchanted unicorn, and the New Orleans deck, and as always, as I wait for people to come on, the angel answers deck. So let's get rolling. Rolling. Alright, so let's see here. Ooh, there's one. There's 3 more. Oh, actually there's 4 more. So it looks like we got our cards. And here's one for whoever needs it. Be assertive. Be assertive. Be assertive. I can't help it. Sometimes it just happens. It just happens. So anyways, all right. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what I have to work with to start while we wait for people to come on. So, I do have guidelines, and I packed them. So let's wing this. Number 1. I only come from a good place. So, you know, if you're freaking out because you're like, oh my God, everybody's doing the voodoo. It is not the voodoo. It is literally just me tapping into my higher powers. Usually for this, and it's not everyone's belief, but usually for this I do tap into Archangel Gabriel and work with him. So if you're into the archangels, great. If you're not, it's my spirit guide. If not, it's just the universe. Or if not, I'm just extremely intuitive and completely brilliant. I'm in a mood today. I am in a mood today. So, yeah, so however you want to take that. Number 2, please do not try to make the card fit your situation if it does not resonate with you. All that causes is stress and overthinking, anxiety, overwhelm, all that stuff. And you don't want that, right? So, you don't. And number 3, I will give you my thoughts and my intuition and what the messages I'm receiving for each card, and then I'll read the book, because somebody took the time to write the book, so we should read the book, except with the angel answers, the first deck we start with, because that's really just kind of a preliminary thing to wait for people to come on, and just kind of that quick, you know, quick draw, quick express reading. So the first card, trust. This is a big one for me, because trust is not easy for me. But trust is a huge thing, and when we start to learn how to let go of control, right, and we start to learn how to just kind of go with the flow, trust becomes easier. But you need trust to do those 2 things. You need trust to take that first step. There's a great quote out there that says, you know, leap and the net will appear. And that's really kind of stuck with me for a long time, for a couple of years now, since I saw it on just a little piece of plywood in somebody's store, right? It was just a sign they were selling. Like, anybody could make these, and for $10 it could be yours. But I just saw it and I was like, I really like that. So leap and the net will appear. And that's where trust and faith comes in. And to me, trust and faith go hand in hand. It's just a matter of how you want to look at it, right? A lot of people look at faith as being very religious. Faith is not religion. Okay, it is tied into religion, yes, but the word faith is not religion. Faith is trusting that everything is going to be okay. Faith is putting your trust in, you know, whatever it is that you put your trust in, and knowing that, you know, they're going to bring you, or the universe is going to bring you what you need. But when we even if we tweak that just a little bit, that can really mess up the plans of your higher powers or the universe, right? Because you're putting a kink in that energy, and you don't want to do that. You want to put that kink in that connection because it could take longer to get to you. So if you are praying, manifesting, setting an intention, this or something better, all right? If you're very, very specific, it makes it harder for anybody that you, whoever you turn to your higher, whoever your higher powers that you turn to, it makes it harder for them. All right, so you have to trust that when you put it out there and you put that feeling behind it and you put that joy and all that other stuff behind it, that it is going to come to you, okay, in whatever way it is meant to come to you. But you have to have faith, all right? Don't say this is how I want it, because it's not always how it's going to happen. So you just have to trust, all right? Trust. That's card number 1. Card number 2, woo, big happy changes. When you trust and you have faith, it can lead to big happy changes. I know. Isn't that this is a wonderful card. This is a wonderful, wonderful card. Good morning, Catherine. Because big happy changes are amazing. So when you trust, you're opening the doorway for big happy changes. Card number 3. This one says reconsider, but I don't feel like this is a part of this. All right, so if you're coming up with something that you're not exactly excited about, reconsider your approach to it, all right? So, I know, I found the card that is meant for us. Card number 3 for real. Remain positive. When you have trust, and you can open that, when you have trust and faith, you have to remain positive, all right? When you have trust and faith, you have to remain positive. Wait. Now, sometimes, this is, to me, wait is another word for patience. So sometimes when you put that trust and you put that faith out there, you have to wait for an outcome. It doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes it does, depending on what it is. I mean, if they can get it done like that, they'll get it done like that. But it's always not that simple, or it's not always that simple. So, sometimes you just have to wait and see what happens. You just have to be patient. All right. And last but not least, helpful people. Helpful people. You can be a helpful person, or you can ask for help from somebody. There is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with asking for help. I know a lot of times that we don't want to ask for help, right? But sometimes the way to open ourselves up to that intention, that prayer, that manifestation is to ask for help. And whoever your higher power is, I'm sure that in one way or another they are omnipresent. The universe, whoever it is, the deep space, it's everywhere. So don't worry about bothering whoever your higher power is. Just put it out there, okay? Put it out there and just let it go. Like a balloon. Except don't let real balloons go, okay? Because they ruin the atmosphere. Or they get tied into power lines. That's always fun. So, have trust. Remain positive. You will experience big happy changes. But you may have to wait a little bit, so be patient. And in the interim, be helpful or ask people for help. Maybe you need help being positive, or maybe you need help maintaining that faith that, everything is going to turn out well. So find those supportive people. Find those people that, know how to really kind of pump you up and say, yeah, you got this. Just, breathe. So breathing is such a big, big thing. So we have that. All right. Now let's get to the New Orleans deck. As I mentioned, today is a travel day for me. I'm not intentionally rushing through these things, but I'm also trying not to be as long-winded as I usually am. So, I know, I can ramble for days. So let's see what we have with this deck. La 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 la. Oops. Okay. I'm not sure this deck... Okay. I need to calm my energy down. For some reason, it's just... I think I just finally caught up on my sleep, so I just feel so good right now. It's kind of like, So let's see. Oh, there's one. I haven't seen it yet. So, oh, there's another one. And one more shuffle and see what happens. Got nothing? Got nothing. Alright. I saw the second card, but I didn't see the first one. So let's start with the first one. End of a cycle. Woo! End of a cycle. I like that. End of a cycle. Wow. Right? End of cycle. And look, it's... So this deck is really kind of based on... this is one of my favorite decks. This is one of my absolute favorite decks. If you go to see the Haunted Mansion and you look at the beginning montage of the movie, you're actually going to see this deck. This is the card you're going to see where somebody's shuffling them. But and I like it because it is the New Orleans Oracle deck, and as you know, the Haunted Mansion takes place there. But I've had this deck for a while now, and it's one of my favorites simply based on the fact that it's so colorful, you know. Oh, and it's funny because the second card I pulled is actually on the back of this card. But it was inspired by the colorful culture and energy of New Orleans. So, and she's from New Orleans, Fatima Mboja. I think that's how you say her name, and I'm sorry if I butchered it. But an end of a cycle. How often do we wait for that end of the cycle? You know, maybe you've been going through a lot. Maybe you've been, you know, feeling like you've been challenged in every direction. Just know that it's coming to an end. But remember, with the end of one cycle begins a new cycle. So the Angel Answers cards, we're going to probably end, I feel like we're going to keep referring back to these. And the first three cards. Trust. Big happy changes. Remain positive. So trust, big happy changes, remain positive, or trust, remain positive, and big happy changes are going to come to you. But the end of a cycle doesn't necessarily mean, you know, that it's this chaotic. The journey may have been chaotic, right? Your journey may have looked just like this. And now it's going to be peaceful. Now you're going to come into a time of peace. You're going to come into a time of just kind of being able to sit back and breathe, sit back and relax for a little, you know. And I mean, just rest. All right. You're going to know that if a new cycle's starting, but don't keep revisiting a reason to keep the turbulent cycle going. Okay. I recently realized in therapy last week that I kept revisiting the same thing over and over and over again. And my therapist really kind of had to point it out to me. I mean, they really do help you navigate your life. I mean, they really, really do. And I have been in therapy since, I think March. And I'm not ashamed of it. It really kind of helps me because I had therapy a while ago, and then I feel like I graduated from it. But this time around, it's kind of the same thing, and it's just like, holy crap. It's like, what is happening? Why do I keep revisiting the same thing over and over and over and over again? And you get to a point where you're just like, stop. Just stop. You know? And that's what we have to do. And the end of a cycle isn't a bad thing. It can be scary because you might be heading in a new direction. But trust it. You have to trust it. You have to trust and remain positive for those big happy changes. Trust, remain positive for those big happy changes. All right? So like I said, leap and the net will appear. So the end of a cycle. Ooh, this one's titled. They don't all have titles, but this one has a title. Hurricane Katrina. I know how destructive that was, right? But Sibylline and I used to watch a show, and the reason I'm bringing this show up, which, funny enough, I cannot remember what it's called right now, but they followed a bunch of paramedics, and their, you know, kind of their adventures. Not really adventures, right? When you're a paramedic, it's just your job, and bad things happen to people. So, but one of them was talking about New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, and how, you know, they just felt like they rebuilt bigger and better. They rebuilt bigger and better. Because, I mean, New Orleans was pretty destroyed after Hurricane Katrina. And, I mean, the levees broke, all this stuff, and it was bad. It was bad, right? But that's one of the things that kind of inspired this deck, was how everybody was so resilient and really just kind of bounced back. Even more colorful and more vibrant and more alive. So, you know, the end of a cycle, that was the end of one cycle, and maybe this was their rebirth, right? Because that's what happens at the end of a cycle. You can do two things. You can get to the end of a cycle and continually put your foot back in it and stare at it forever and ever and ever, or you can look forward to the unknown and have a rebirth. Allow yourself to recreate, reclaim, rediscover everything about you that you may have forgotten or that you may not have known was already there. Time to uncover all the stuff, right? So Hurricane Katrina signifies the end of an era in an unexpected and uncomfortable way. The hurricane led not only to the devastation of well-known comforts, but also to the beginning of desired growth and forward movement. Many times it is necessary for things to fall apart in order for them to come together. If this card has shown up in your reading, you can expect that your comfort zones have been shaken up. The good news is that whatever your perception of change or loss is in this situation, there are wishes about to be fulfilled on the horizon. Focus your energy on the things that you do have control over. Move forward step by step instead of trying to create the entire plan in advance. There will likely be things that arise during this time that can be perceived as setbacks. But if you focus on what is in your power, this experience, while not the easiest, will still prove to have a positive outcome. I love that. It's basically saying, move through the flow. This is something I wrote in my journal this morning. Move through the flow, or wander through the flow with wonder and curiosity. And I say that because I am not good at staying still and not living way into the future or way into the past. Mindfulness, which to me is being present in this moment, is something I'm still working so hard on. But I'm getting there. Because I finally told myself I have a saying now for me that works for me that says, you know what? I love to wander. I am this person that you can just set me loose in a city and I will, if I get lost, turn on Google Maps, put it in my earphones, and boom, I'm off and I'm running. And or I'm always the one that's lagging behind all the people I'm with. If I'm with a group of people or just a couple of people, they're like, where's Shelly? It's like, oh, she's back there, just kind of looking at everything. So go through the world, wander through the world with wonder and curiosity. Sometimes when we look at our problems with that, just say, you know what, just take yourself out of your problem and look at it from the outside. And a lot of times that's when we find those answers. And that's when we can end that cycle. We have to step out of what is bringing us down to end a cycle, or to at least get it moving towards the end of a cycle. But again, remember, the end of cycles aren't always easy. And a lot of times where it says here, in an unexpected and uncomfortable way, because we're not used to it. I kept going backwards and revisiting my past and trying to live there because it was like a safety blanket. It was cozy. Even though it was uncomfortable to be there, and even though I knew that's not the person I am, and that I've reclaimed this person that I am now, and discovered parts of me that I didn't realize had been hidden for so long, it was still comfortable there because it's what I knew. And it wasn't scary because, again, it's what I knew. It's what I was comfortable with. And you're like, you don't have to just say, well, this is how it is. It doesn't have to be that way. This is how it is because you're allowing it to be that way. And I know those might seem like harsh words, but it's true. It's scary to move forward. It's scary to move into the end of a cycle and into a new beginning. But it can also be the most beautiful and magical thing that you've ever experienced. A lot of times we don't want to move into things because we're afraid of being hurt, or we're afraid that life is just going to give us a smackdown. But fight back. Fight back. Or duck. Just bob and weave, right? Just duck. So, one of the things that can help us with the end of a cycle, and I love that these two cards came up together because this one came out first, the end of a cycle, and gratitude came out second. A lot of people say, oh, F you and your gratitude. I used to say that too. I used to say, F you and your gratitude, gratitude's stupid. But I find that when I gratitude things, I'm so happy and grateful that I just feel at peace right now. You're opening yourself up to divine help, whoever it is that you again, turn your attention to or turn your focus to. So I think that was my fourth one on my rules, that, I do believe in God, but I'm also a polytheist. So I believe in a lot of different entities. I believe in a lot of different spiritual powers. So, so if I just slip and say God, that's my belief. God or gods. Okay, but that may not be yours. All right. Yours may be something completely different. So that's just kind of the bracket thing, just fill in your favorite. But gratitude is amazing. And as I learn how to utilize it more, because I've had this tool in my belt for forever, and it's a tool that you sometimes take for granted or you forget about because you're just kind of like, whatever, it's not working. That's where we come back to the angel cards. You have to wait. Again, wait to me when it came to that first deck of the angel answers is about patience. And patience is not my strong suit, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure it out as I go. So, That's what we have to figure out, is how to wait and allow the gratitude to happen. So again, sometimes gratitude will happen like that. Sometimes it'll take a while. It just depends, okay? And it also depends on how willing you are to allow the flow. You can't just say, I'm so happy and grateful that, and not feel it, and then just go back to doing what you're doing. When you use gratitude, you also have to use trust and faith. You have to remain positive. These cards are really all kind of going together, okay? They're tying us into a story about, you know, if you trust and remain positive, you'll have big happy changes. The end of a cycle is coming, and you know, if you want, you can put this tool in your tool belt of spiritual tools to use, of gratitude, because gratitude can help. So this is the second line, okay? Second line parades are a staple of New Orleans culture. The uplifting music and dance signify prevailing circumstances through celebration. Let's try this again so we have more of a flow. Second line parades are a staple of New Orleans culture. The uplifting music and dance signify prevailing circumstances through celebration. Whether in celebration of marriage, death, or just the good times in between, second line parades always emphasize leaning on gratitude and appreciation because all is never lost. This card signifies that it's time for you to remember to celebrate. Sometimes looking at the big picture and all of the steps between the beginning and the end can make it seem like you're on an overwhelmingly endless journey. Giving yourself moments to enjoy any accomplishment, even if it's just the fact that you're still trying, okay? Even if you're still trying, is reason enough to celebrate. The more that you tap into your gratitude and appreciation, the sooner you will see things moving more quickly in your desired direction. Feel the music of life and dance a little. You're on your way, and you always have been. I have to tell you, so my whole thing, I mean, not to get all gloomy and go into the super future, but my whole thing is I just want to be cremated and thrown into the ocean, okay? So, or just throw me in whole and let the sharks eat me. I don't care. Give back to the earth, right? I'll be dead. I'm not going to know. But I just feel like it would be totally cool to have a second line going up to the boat, right? I mean, I actually wanted a Viking burial because, you know, being cremated or being buried is just, I don't know, just the thought of it, right? I know just the thought of it just kind of freaks me out. And I don't know why, because you're like, Chillimer, you're going to be dead. It's not going to matter. It's just your meat case going into wherever. But it's just kind of like, ugh. So there's those things. But I just thought, wow, how cool. Because every so often I'll see a show on New Orleans or I'll see a documentary. And that one show I was just talking about, that was talking about New Orleans and how they came back big. They actually had a gunshot victim that did not survive. But they tried so hard, and the EMT crew was actually invited by the family to do a second line in celebration of this young boy's life. So it was just, wow, it was just amazing, you know, just the celebration. I mean, there's sadness, but there's also joy. So it's like they're celebrating the end of a cycle, but they're sending this spirit on their way, you know, to this beautiful place surrounded by music and laughter and joy. And they're also getting that fulfillment for themselves, soaking in the other people's good energy, you know. And I mean, yeah, they're going to have their moments where they grieve, but they know they celebrated their loved one. They know that they said, hey, let's do this. And because life does continue on. So when we have gratitude, we can, you know, you can gratitude your attitude. All right, that's what baby sibling and I always say, gratitude the attitude. So I know it's hard and it can be scary, but it is totally doable. And once you get the hang of it, you're going to find that it is one of the most amazing tools that you will ever hold inside of your spiritual tool belt or your mental wellness tool belt. I mean, my mental wellness tool belt has a lot of new tools in it, and I'm getting used to them all, right? I mean, you don't just take a tool and say, oh, I don't know what this is for, but I'm going to use it for something. You figure out what it's used for so you don't break anything. And that's kind of like the spiritual tool belt or the mental health tool belt. You know, your spiritual tool belt is your gratitude, it's trust, it's remaining positive, it's having faith and believing that when you leap, the net will appear. Your mental wellness one, you don't have to have a dinged up mental health to have a mental wellness tool belt. It's mindfulness, it's meditation, it's getting back to self. It's self-care, it's self-love, self-worth, self-awareness, all those self things, self-respect. You have to have self-respect in order to take care of yourself, right? I mean, self-respect is kind of the beginning of it all. When you have self-respect, you find self-love, you find self-care, that self-worth, awareness, all that stuff that you need. So, now, let's see what the fairies have to say about that. Let's see what they have to say about that. I tell you, I don't know what, I just feel so good this morning, like, so much energy. I mean, it's crazy. I haven't even had coffee yet. I mean, my coffee's decaf anyway, but I just feel so alive. It's kind of cool. So, you know, and I always worry that people might think, God, what is she on? Absolutely nothing. Thyroid pills and antidepressants. But no, I think it's just, I'm finally catching up on my sleep. But you know what I think it more so is I finally surrendered. The moon. Yes, the full moon actually, believe it or not, drains me, and it really wrecks my sleep. So it really wrecks my sleep. So if this were a couple days ago, I'd be like, I'm just punchy. But no, you do have a point. You know, I think because we're coming out of that full moon cycle, I'm finally getting my energy back. I'm finally sleeping. But and I love the full moon, because the full moon, you know what? Thank you, Catherine, for bringing that up. Because I forgot. I talked about this the other day, and I wanted to bring it up during the show, and I almost forgot. These cards are perfect for the cycle that we're in right now. The full moon, because it's going to be waning now. It's going to be waning into the new moon, the dark moon. And the full moon is a time of letting go. Right? The new moon is about setting your intentions, your prayers, your manifestation. But the full moon is about letting go. So all this stuff over the next couple of weeks that you just wanted, say, hey, I'm done. I'm over this. It's the end of my cycle. Let the moon take it away. You know, even if you just look at it as like a metaphor, the moon is waning. Okay, so it's slowly disappearing. Let it take all that stuff. As the light of the moon starts to darken into the new moon, let it take all your crap with it. All the stuff that doesn't suit you, all the stuff that doesn't help you, doesn't, you know, translate into anything good in your life. Let it go. Let it go. You have to trust, right? And remain positive that everything's going to work out. But you can if you have that little tweak in the back of your mind saying, I don't think so. Let it go. If it does not serve you, it's time to say bye. So I see a card sticking out, and I think that might be our third one. I didn't think some cards end up or some decks end up having one, some decks end up having three, but I just felt like that was a card for today. So let's see. Card 1, holiday. The answer you're looking for can be found during a vacation, retreat, or holiday getaway. I'm traveling today, but only to my dad's, so it's not necessarily a holiday or a getaway, but it is kind of like a retreat, because I end up doing a lot of thinking when I'm there, because I hang out in my old bedroom a lot. But yeah, and the view is so pretty. I just kind of get lost in the view. And I remember when I was younger, the tree wasn't as big, so I could see a lot farther. But trees grow, right? They grow like we grow. They get older like we get older. But I do it just sounds so bad. I do a lot of thinking while I'm there, because I just get lost in the view, and then my mind it's almost like it's meditative, like unintentionally meditating. There we go. So holiday. But a lot of people say, oh yeah, I was on holiday or I was on vacation. I had this great thought. And they're all like, why is it whenever we go on vacation or holiday that these things happen? Because you're not stressing out about where you're at. You're not stressing about work. You're not stressing out about home. You're not stressing out about anything. Even if you have a staycation, you have the opportunity to say, you know what? I'm just going to pretend that, if you want to, pack a bag, walk out of your house, walk back in, unlock it like you're at an Airbnb, and just, you're on vacation. That is somebody else's house for a week. All right? Thank you, Catherine. You know what? This is how I used to be. So maybe, reclaiming my spirit this week and reclaiming my soul this week is finally unlocking me to be goofy and silly like I used to be, just kind of a dork for all intents and purposes. I was just talking to a Twitter friend, and they were like, yeah, I laugh at my own jokes. And I said, that's so funny, because on my other Twitter account, because I have two, one's mostly for mental health, and the other one is just kind of me being dumb for the last 14 years. is, yeah, 2009. I said, literally says in my profile, laughs at own jokes, and even on my Facebook, laughs at own jokes. But so I said we should start a club. And the whole point was is that no matter what, we'll always be laughing, because even if we're not laughing at each other's jokes, we're laughing at ourselves. So there's that. It's just about being fun. It's about letting loose, cutting loose. Stop worrying about what everybody else is thinking about you. Maybe the body positivity I'm doing, and going deep into our psyche on why, we hold ourselves back in certain ways. Because I'm trying to go with more of the perspective view than just, a 30-day thing that somebody put out there. I'm doing my homework on this. I'm trying to, filter in things that would really be helpful. And one of those from last week's self-care, what other people think of you is none of your business. So reclaim yourself. Who cares? Be fun, be goofy, be silly. Just be you. Be you. So, but on holiday, as I was, I know I'm sidetracking myself here. On holiday, we're not stressing out about stuff. We're just kind of chilling, going with the flow, saying, yeah, you know what, everything back home is taken care of. Or like I said, if you're staycationing and you walk out of your house and walk back in to feel like you're on vacation, that's not a problem. Live out of your suitcase for a week. Live out of your suitcase for a week. Who cares? No one's going to know, right? But if it helps you get into the mindset of being on vacation, that's what matters. And so when we're not stressing, when we are on vacation and we're just allowing ourselves this time to think, and we allow that flow to come in, we allow all this good stuff to just kind of filter into us and just allow really a doorway opening, right? The big happy changes. When you trust and you remain positive, you allow those big happy changes. And sometimes when you go on holiday or a retreat or a getaway, you're allowing yourself this time to really kind of just zero in and get back to zero, really. That's what the Ho'oponopono is about. It's about getting back to zero. And zero is your starting point. Zero is where you're at before all these things filtered into your psyche, telling you what was good, what was bad, without you being able to make that choice yourself. And some people are strong enough to say, yeah, I'm not going to buy that. That may be your thinking, but that's not mine. And I'm finally there, where it's like, yeah, we may not agree, so we may have to agree to disagree. And sometimes you just got to leave it at that. When fighting over a topic isn't going to get anyone anywhere, especially when you're both digging in and your thoughts are your own thoughts. Just agree to disagree, and, think about what the other person says, and, hopefully they think about what you said. So let's see. The fairies know the importance of play and rest. Very important. And they're urging you through this card to take some time off. This vacation performs an important role in your life by giving you an opportunity to clear your mind and think about your next move. You'll learn a great deal from this holiday, so it's worth the investment of time and money. So additional meanings for this card: a family get-together will result in a significant healing. Take a class held in an exotic location. Visit one of the Earth's power places, like Stonehenge, Sedona, Avebury. Well, don't go to Avebury because that's my favorite place. Forget I said that. I'm clearing that from your mind. I don't want it to get overrun by people. But I know, isn't that terrible? It's a tourist town, so go visit there. Put some money into their economy. But it's a great place, and you can actually touch the stones there without having to have a special tour to do it. But Sedona is a big one. Sedona is actually in the state over from me. But that is a big power place. So I should look up the other ones, because every time we get this card, I go to my usuals, right? Stonehenge, Avebury, Sedona. But there's so many more. There's so many more places. So we just, go to the power places. Your prayer will be answered during the holiday season, such as Christmas, Hanukkah, or Easter. Give any stress or worries about a holiday to heaven and the fairies. Ask the fairies for help in arranging and paying for a vacation for yourself and your loved ones. Go on a retreat. All right. So the next one, everything's okay. See, look, that's how we all look, right? Everything's okay. She looks a little less whatever about that, but everything's okay. Everything is okay. Again, like I said, we're going to continually be referring back to the angel answer cards. The first three: trust, remain positive, big happy changes. And this one says, don't worry, it's all working out in a beautiful way. It's all working out in a beautiful way. I've already rambled on and on and on about how everything's okay, so let's just jump to the card. So The fairies know that you're concerned about the outcome of the situation, so they've sent this card to you as reassurance that everything's working out in a divinely perfect way. Take steps to uplift your outlook and unburden your heart and mind, such as taking a nature walk, spending time with loved ones, exercising, or enjoying a creative project. The more you can stay centered and filled with faith, there it is, we talked about that earlier, right? Trust and faith, the better the outcome you'll experience. So additional meanings. Write down your concerns on paper and then ceremoniously dispose of the list by burning it, pouring water over it, or burying it. All right. We are literally... Oh, so Catherine says she's going to retreat this weekend. That's fun. See, you know what? That's funny that she said that, because I was about to mention how my cousins sometimes will go on these little craft retreats with her. They call themselves the Frogettes, which is totally cute. But yeah, they're going. They go on one of those from time to time, and she always comes back just like so glowy, right? Because it's just fun. You're not thinking about anything. You're just thinking about hanging with your friends, doing all this fun stuff. So good for you, Catherine. And thank you for sharing that. So see, it can be any kind of retreat, guys. A lot of times we think it's like a spiritual retreat. It can be a craft retreat. It could be a Bible retreat. It could be a, fishing retreat. A retreat is literally just getting away, and you're basically doing the same thing every day. That's to me. But that can also be vacation or a short holiday. But a lot of times retreats are usually focused in on something. They're focused in on a specific thing. So like a craft retreat or whatever. So, talk to people involved in order to double check your facts. Your worries may be based upon untrue assumptions. And make sure that you're getting enough rest and eating healthfully, as physical strain can lead to anxiety and exhaustion. There you go. But yeah, so I like the first part of this card, and I really want people to kind of think about that. Take steps to uplift your outlook and unburden your heart and mind. All right. When you write this stuff down and you dispose of it, whether you burn it, you put water on it, or you bury it, or you can burn it and then bury it, or you can put water on it and then bury it. It's up to you. But if you're going to bury it in the darkest corner of your yard or wherever. All right. Like under a shade tree or something, because you just want it to just go away, to dissipate. You don't want it to get sunlight and grow. And I know you're thinking, what? But trust me, that's a spiritual part of it. So just bury the negative stuff in a dark place. Or, you know what? I take that back. Because sometimes you may think maybe it needs some sunlight on it. So do what you feel is right. Do what you feel is right for you. All right? I'm not going to tell you how to do that. I will tell you one thing though. If you live in California and you choose to burn something, please, please, please do it carefully. All right? We literally used to have a fire season. Now fire season just whenever it decides to happen. I know. And I'm not kidding. We literally have a season for fire. But fire season seems to be a moving target now. So it used to be at the end of summer, in the fall, when everything's really kind of dried. But we've been going through such a nasty drought that our fire season has literally become a moving target. So please be careful with that, okay? A couple years ago, someone decided to do a baby reveal, and it went haywire, and it caused a lot of damage. It set off like a fire that lasted for, I think, over a week. I know. So be careful. All right, be careful. Don't be dumb. And spring. Your desires fully manifest as the flowers begin to bloom. Your desires fully manifest as the flowers begin to bloom. So let's see, spring. Now, this doesn't mean... I know everyone's like, Shelly Marie, we're in summer, which means we have 2 more seasons before we get to spring. That doesn't mean that it's not going to happen before then. What it means is that, your desires fully manifest as the flowers begin to bloom. So it may be taking its course already. Just throwing it out there as an example. You may meet somebody, you may fall in love, you may get engaged, and then by spring, you're like, woo, we're getting married. So, this is what they're talking about. And I know that's probably not the best example, because some people are going to be out there like, oh, remember, rule number 2. If it does not resonate with you, or you feel like you have to force it, it's not meant for you. At least not right now. But I'm using that as an example, okay? You're planting a seed, you're letting it grow, and poof. By then, it's going to fully manifest. But it's already starting to manifest the minute you plant that seed. So nurture it. Nurture it with faith, trust, and remaining positive. So that in the end, you have that big happy change. Okay, don't focus on the idea of spring. Just know that this is just telling you It's giving you a goal marker. All right, so you want to get from point A to point B. Point B is spring. The answer to your question and prayers will occur during the springtime. Prior to that season, you'll benefit from the many blessings that your wishes have already attracted. Stay filled with faith and give any Stay filled with faith and give any worries to the fairies, because they can see behind the scenes and will ensure that your desires and blessings are on their way. Now, for those of you that are sitting there going, fairies, how can you put fairies and heaven in the same thing? If you look at them as nature angels, okay? Don't judge it. Just listen to it. Just accept it. Just enjoy the message. I know there's always going to be somebody that tries to find something wrong with something. So to that I say, keep an open mind. Don't be so closed-minded. So, additional meanings for this card. A pregnancy, birth, or adoption will take place. Ooh, so to anybody who that's happening to, congratulations. A project that you're starting will be successful. Work with flower essences. Plant a garden or spend time in one. Open yourself to new beginnings. Dive into a fresh start. Spring cleaning your home or office will be rewarding. You know, the funny thing is, I've always wanted a garden. And yet, I have the brownest thumb in the whole world. But I feel like it's just because I've never had the opportunity to really grow a garden. I love Catherine. She's all, I love fairies. I love fairies too. In fact, because of Catherine, I think we both own the same book. Because she let me borrow her little fairy book. And it was really cute. It was written like over 100 years ago. And I liked it so much. I don't know if I have it over here somewhere. Oh yeah, I do. Hold on. Let me move Ron Weasley there. Yeah, Fairies and Chimneys. So, and because of Catherine, I was inspired to buy this book because I enjoyed it so much. So, that was my picture of the TARDIS. But, yeah, it was written in, well, this one, it's interesting. It says Oakdale School, 1928. That was like 95 years ago, kids. But this book was published in 1920, and it is legit published. I mean, look, it's falling apart. But then, and then what's even more interesting is when I opened it, it had this in here: Barbie the Belgian Mare, and If You Believe Fairies. So somebody stuck this in the book, and I have no idea where this came from, what it was from. Someone stole it out of a book because it does have page numbers on it, but it was just sitting right in here. So, yeah, it's one of my favorite books. So thank you, Catherine, for pointing me in that direction. But I know. God, I love the smell of books. So I was watching something the other day, and they say one of the reasons people love to smell old books is because I guess they treated the paper with certain things, but it always had, but also with the essence of vanilla. So who knows? But yeah, see, I told you guys, I'm like a, what do they call, a bibliophile? I'm a bibliophile, but it's terrible because I don't always get to reading all my books. But I love buying books. And I love, there's this one place in Colorado that when Sibling and I go up to Breckenridge every summer, and there's this one bookstore, and it's privately owned, so you kind of gotta hope it's open when you get there. That, you gotta hope it's open when you get there. And I always like to buy one book there or more, and I've gotten a few Henry James books there that were published quite some time ago. I got an original Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. It was a second edition, but it was an original second edition. I think it was I think it was a first edition. But you know, anyway, I guess that's it for those. But yeah, Catherine says that makes her happy. You know, it makes me happy too. And thank you for reminding me of this book. I think I'm going to read it really quick before I go. But yeah, it just has lovely, lovely little poems in it, you know. And I mean, here's one. Summer morning. Oh, summer morning continued. Let's just digress for a moment from the reading. The air around was trembling bright and full of dancing specks of light, while butterflies were dancing too between the shining green and blue. I might not watch, I might not stay, I ran along the meadow way. The straggling brambles caught my feet, the clover field was oh so sweet. I heard a singing in the sky, and busy things went buzzing by. And how it came I cannot tell, but all the hedges sang as well. Along the clover field I ran to where the little wood began, and there I understood at last why I had come so far so fast. On every leaf of every tree a fairy sat and smiled at me. Right? How does that not make you giggly? I love that. Ugh, I know. All right. Okay, so our two little unicorns. I'm using the Enchanted Unicorn deck. Glorious Mess. That's me. I'm a glorious mess. And Shroom. Which I've also done in my youth. So, I've never done anything that's not natural. I know. Yeah, wink. But I don't care. I got nothing to hide. I'm telling you, I have literally shroomed twice, and the second time was just, I peaked so bad right before a concert, and it was the guy I was dating at the time, and I thought, let me try that. But the first time, oh my god, I thought I was like Socrates reincarnated, or Plato. I was just a total philosopher, like for a whole 4 hours. Everything, I literally was living in an existential world. Why? Why this? Why that? Why this? Why that? Thank you, Catherine. She said she loves how giddy I am today. You know what? I do too. And I have to tell you, I think this literally is the reemergence of Shelley Marie. I think I am finally, last night I decided I was going to just let go of control and do my best to just wander the world with wonder and curiosity. And I think by doing that, I really think I've unleashed this. I've re-unleashed myself. I've let myself out of the cage, and basically the prison that I've kept myself in. It's like a Camp Snoopy, right? Like a total chill prison. Or what do they call it? Camp Fed, where all the famous people go when they have to serve time. But it's kind of, I think I kind of kept myself in that place where it's like I was free to move about, but mentally I was just not there. And I do have indignant mental health, and I do have to check in with myself every day. But thank you, Catherine. I'm glad that you came on today, because I think pointing this out really reminds me that it's not just, this good energy this morning. It's literally me. It's me. It's who they knew me to be when I worked with them a long, long time ago, before I started going downhill. But yeah, just this goofy, crazy girl and a woman. I'm a woman, but also a glorious mess. So, you know what? There's nothing wrong with being a glorious mess. I'm just going to read these because, this one says gloriously human, right? Gloriously human. We are perfectly imperfect. And that's what is so amazing about humans, that we are perfectly imperfect. And when we realize we're perfectly imperfect, we stop striving for, just unreachable heights. And I'm not saying that you can't reach the highest heights. But here's the thing. When you're shooting for perfection, that becomes a moving target. Your highest height has suddenly moved because you're getting closer and you feel like it's not enough. So you need more, you need more, you need more. It's like a person who decides, you know what, I am going to be crazy one day and jump off my roof and into the pool. All right? And that's an adrenaline thing. It's like, oh, well, I did that and I survived. Let me bungee jump. Okay, and so you do that so you do that a few times, but then that becomes not enough. So you decide, I'm going to go skydiving. Oh yeah, that sounds great. And then you try that, but then you're like, well, that's not enough. So then you try base jumping, and base jumping ain't always the safest thing, especially if you're new at it and you don't know what the hell you're doing. People have died base jumping, but you're constantly searching for that adrenaline hit. And that's kind of how perfection is. You're constantly looking for that adrenaline hit, and the adrenaline hit could be simply that, you like the kudos that you get. And so you're going to keep working and pushing and pushing and pushing yourself until you're exhausted, until you're tired, and you got nothing left. And then all of a sudden you fall into a funk because you think, well, what happened to me? You flew too close to the sun and got burned. That's the problem. When we realize and recognize that we are gloriously human, right? Just like the card says, we're a glorious mess. We're gloriously human. Even if you don't feel like you're a glorious mess, we're all a glorious mess. But we're our own mess. We're our own person. Come on. Right now, somebody could be watching this that doesn't know me and say, she is a hot mess. Even my hair looks like a hot mess. But Catherine knows me. Older sibling knows me. And they know this is the person that's been hiding away for so long, waiting for someone to just unlock the door so she could escape and get out. And remind me. Wow. And it's nice to have that reminder. It's nice to see somebody say, I love how you're so giddy today. I feel giddy today. I feel great today. I didn't wake up feeling great because I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, but you know what? But I have really kind of caught up on my sleep, even though I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Okay, so, well, I know that when I start to wake up before my alarm, my first alarm, I need a couple to get out of bed, that I'm starting to be in a good place. But I feel really good today. I feel like me today. I feel like somebody that I have not seen in a long, long time. And that makes me happy and that makes me joyous. And I want to keep that feeling going. I want to remind myself that even if I fly too close to the sun, we're all going to fly too close to the sun at some point in our lives. And we're not going to do it just once. We're going to do it a couple times. But when when you hit that little thing like a bug zapper and you just fall down and you're laying on your back going, what the hell just happened? Just remind yourself. Take a moment, take a deep breath, flip yourself back over, and get up. Don't worry about what happened. Don't worry about flying too close to the sun or the bug zapper and getting zapped. Just get up where you fell and keep moving forward. And remind yourself, hey, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't have flown too close to that sun. I am gloriously human. I am perfectly imperfect. Okay, so the spikenard. So I have no idea what that is, but it is like, I think, my new favorite word for a plant, the spikenard. The spikenard is considered one of the holy plants, much the same as frankincense and myrrh. It has long been used in prayer and meditation as a way to become closer to the divine. Its sweet, earthy, spicy scent is calming and brings great insights. Medicinally, it was used to treat any pain or disease in the body caused by emotional maladies. On a metaphysical level, spikenard is used to release old patterns and help us learn our life lessons joyfully with grace. Okay, seriously, I feel like I just said all this about myself, so this is nice validation. Spikenard brings purity and raises our energetic vibration. So you know what? If you're laying on your back after getting bug zapped or zapped by the sun because you flew too close to it, just pretend like you're this little tiny unicorn with all these little purple things sticking out of your head going, I'm a spikenard and it is time to reclaim who I am. And get back up, all right? So the divination, the business of being human is all at once glorious, messy, divine, and mundane. Glorious mess reminds us that everyone is struggling with something and we are all just trying to do the best we can. That's siblings' favorite saying. We're all doing the best that we can. Understand that everyone has their own challenges and may not be able to give you the time, attention, or help you think, Understand that everyone has their own challenges and may not be able to give you the time, attention, or help you think you deserve. This card appears when you need to release all expectations of how people should behave. Forcing others to worry about something or someone when they already have too much on their plate will just turn them away. Forcing yourself to worry about something or someone when you already have too much to deal with will lead to resentment and burnout. Set up some healthy boundaries and only say yes to helping others when you truly have the time and energy to do so. When you set strong boundaries and put the nourishment of your soul first, you will then be able to help others with honor, compassion, and respect, and without expecting anything in return. Often, the best way to quickly help someone is to visualize sending them a loving beam of light to use in whatever way they wish. So I want to cover something really quick because this kind of made me think about something I've been talking about. I started the body positivity, the 30 non-consecutive days of body positivity. And one of the reasons I redid it was because I talked about having dinner with some friends one night, right? And two of them were kind of going back and forth across the table saying, you ask her, you ask her, you ask her, you ask her. And finally, one of them asked me and says, do you follow your own advice? To which I said in my previous perspectives, I didn't even miss a beat. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then they asked me why. And I'm like, I have no idea. And it's not because I think I'm better than it. It's because for a long time I didn't think I was worthy of following my own advice. Okay, I think I give pretty decent advice. I know that sometimes my advice is coming from a divine place. And I think it's also meant to help me. And this card reminds us that we are a glorious mess. But the reason I started the body positivity, it wasn't about size. For anybody that has been following it, it's not about size. It doesn't matter what your clothes size is. It doesn't matter what the scale is telling you. It's about who you see in that mirror. And to love that person just as they are in that moment at that time. But I'm also digging into the more psychological areas of it, even though I'm not a trained therapist. But hey, I've had enough therapy, so I do my homework and I do remind people it's not replacement for medical advice. But I go through my own experiences and how it's kind of helped me move through that. How it's kind of helped me remind myself, yeah, follow your own advice. You're being given this advice for a reason, not just to share with people, but to listen to. And that's why I think the body positivity is really starting to work for me, because I'm listening now. So I wanted to say that because Catherine was one of the people at the table that I was talking about that night, and I wanted to thank her for that, because it really made me think. It really made me think, because she showed our other friend the video. They were watching my show and together, and they both wanted to know, and so it really made me think about that. And I want them to know it was not just an answer I gave them, but it's something I really put a lot of thought into. So yeah, just, we can't fix people. We just have to let them be their glorious mess on their own. Okay? But we can be supportive. And that's the biggest thing that we can do for people, is to be supportive. All right? So, the last card that we have is the Shroom. The Shroom. Think outside the box. I like this one for the last card of the day. Think outside the box. At first glance, the sky blue mushroom looks like an unearthly being, a bright luminous blue against the green forest background. In fact, it looks like something out of Alice in Wonderland. The fungus is native to New Zealand and some parts of India. It is not considered edible, but bizarrely, no one seems to know if it is toxic either. While it is highly decorative, any other valuable qualities are yet to be discovered. Oh, someone needs to take one for the team and find out. So, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Please, don't do that. All right? This is the sky blue mushroom. Don't. You did not hear that from me. I did not. I literally said don't do it. But the unique and extraordinary beauty of the sky blue mushroom encourages us to entertain unique and extraordinary ideas. Think outside the box. For every problem, there is a solution. Specifically, for every environmental problem created by humans, there is a resolution. We just need to find it by using ingenuity and resourcefulness. Instead of complaining or getting angry and full of despair about the Earth's environmental challenges, resolve to do something about it. Be part of the key that unlocks incredible results. The Shroom Unicorn encourages clever solutions that will help to protect the Earth and sustain human life. The first step is to tap into the natural world by communing with plants and nature. Ask for guidance from Mother Earth. This action will lead you to research the practicalities and start generating ideas. Within nature, there are secrets and hidden clues that make human life easier, as well as protecting the environment. The two need not be mutually exclusive. Wonderful environmental initiatives are already starting to happen. The world needs your optimism, innovation, and action. I love how it goes right into think outside the box and to let's save the planet. But I do like that, because, I know a lot of people would disagree with me, because I know a few, but, the planet's in trouble. And it's been in trouble for a long time. You have scientists from all the way back to the 18th and 19th century talking about how we need to start taking care of this planet. So, recycle, do all the good things, plant a tree, plant a couple trees. But I like that. Think outside the box. So all these cards are really kind of pointing into moving forward, moving out of a cycle that you've been in and moving into something new, moving into something beautiful. So do that for yourself. Allow that for yourself. Allow yourself to say, hey, you know what? This is what I want to do, and these are the steps I need to take to do it. Is it going to be uncomfortable? Yeah, it might be. But like it said, in the spring, right? Plant that seed and watch how it starts to bloom. I mean, I just decided the other night that I was going to allow myself to just kind of ascend to this next level, and that I was going to stop stopping myself from doing that. I was going to stop taking a spiritual detour and circling back to the comfortable rest spot. Right? I thought, no, a rest spot, rest stop. But yeah, I realized, no, I have to keep going and see what happens. I have to venture into the unknown with wonder and curiosity, and just know that whatever's meant to happen is going to happen, and that everything's going to turn out for the greatest and highest good. And I know that some people will say, well, bad things happen. Yeah, bad things do happen. Bad things do happen. And the best we can do is to hope that they don't. But if we constantly live our lives in fear, we're not living. We're just existing. and I'm tired of just existing. I want to live. So if you want to join me, let's do this. Let's take this adventure. Let's get on the road. Let's look, well, the proverbial road. Let's take that train from that station that, and just go. Just go. Just wander the world with wonder and curiosity. Okay? So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend as well. Happy Friday to those. I got a busy weekend ahead of me. I know, I do. And it's a good thing I got some rest, because I got a busy weekend ahead of me. But take care of yourselves, okay? And, just if you feel like you're starting to feel overwhelmed, just take a deep breath. Stop. Stop where you're standing. Well, unless in a safe place. Stop in a safe place, okay? But just take a moment to find some mindfulness. Mindfulness has been one of the greatest, wonderful tools that I've added to my mental health belt, but also to my spiritual belt, because it reminds me, stop getting so far ahead, or hey, that door behind you, it's closed now, it's locked, the key is gone. So, oh, have fun. I know where she's going. So have fun, girl. Have a nice weekend. And thank you. I will as well. I have a memorial tomorrow, and then I have a family outing on Sunday with my dad and my cousins, so, and other family friends. So, yeah. And tonight's happy hour. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just rambling now. So, have a great day, everybody. Have a safe weekend. Safe travels wherever you're going. And please, 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 again, take care of yourselves. And think about these cards, all right? If you have to revisit it, rewatch it. See what happens. See if you catch something that you didn't catch before. Have a great day.